Heard the lowlanders have been fighting rebels by the coast, west of the grove. If you're still helping the chief handle those scabs, you might want to talk to Kragella at Tide's Reach.
If I make it out there, I'll see what I can do.
Are you looking to buy?
Keep your eyes open out there, soldier.
Hey, look who's back. You find what you're...
I did. One step closer.
Can't wait.
You still sifting through loads of data?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's lots of... I thought maybe I could try finding things with more... Not much luck there, but I did find out about these, like, images put together to tell a story. They were made to look like they were the real thing. The Oseram-like shows. I bet they pay a lot...
How are things going around here?
Hey, you tell me. Varl's new girlfriend tried to kill me earlier.
What did you do?
I made one joke about how they, you know, eat grass. How does anyone fight with nothing but tree leaves in their stomach?
From the looks of it, the Utaru.
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting it to...
Just try not to get hurt. I better get going.
All right.
Aloy, you found another one of Gaia's...
2 down, 1 to go.
I'm glad her healing can continue.
Found anything else combing through that?
Varl and I have been looking into the animals of the old world. Apparently there used to be thousands more species roaming around. Can you imagine that? I'd give anything to see them. Though I know that without Artemis or Apollo, that maybe... At least I can find comfort in knowing Gaia used them as inspiration for her machines. Her memory honors them.
Are you guys training with Aaron?
If you count trying to stick a spear in his gut as training, then yes.
I've been told. Please tell me you weren't being serious, though.
Of course not.
Good.
I was going for a couple of broken bones. He called the Utaru leaf grazers. Laughed at the idea of us simple farmers being formidable fighters. Before I knew it, he and I were battling it out in the common room. The man is slow, but he can throw a hammer around. Don't look so worried. We're evenly matched. For now. Next time he's going down like a load of boar dump.
Just try not to kill each other.
Injuring his pride should be good.
I better get going.
Right. You've got that.
It is good to see you again, Aloy. I see you have recovered Demeter.
Aloy, can you come downstairs? Beta has something you need to hear.
Okay. I'll be right down.
Aloy, I have managed to unlock additional rooms within the facility.
Got it. Hey, Gaia.
Welcome back, Aloy.
Have you been able to make use of Demeter's fun?
Yes. I was able to mitigate most soil conditions and restore a temper.
Maybe that'll give Plainsong's fields a chance to recover.
Unfortunately, recovery in that area is unlikely. I have discussed this matter with Zoe. I believe we may have a workaround.
Yeah, I'm helping her out with that. There's something I'm still trying to figure out. Demeter using flying machines to distribute metal flowers.
In its deranged state, Demeter was defending itself against a robotic swarm that would devour all plant life.
It thought the Pharaoh Plague was still happening?
It feared it would come again. As part of its directive of reseeding Earth's vegetation, it sought to protect plant life at all costs, and considering it had 20 years to proliferate, I expect you will continue to find the fruits of its efforts for some time.
That's a good thing I have the code to dissolve the vines, then. The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of... Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new... Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural... Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the...
Pharaoh, huh? I really hate that guy.
Understandable. He appears to have been pathologically narcissistic, impulsive...
All 3 of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from... Do you still need them?
Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic process, empowering my overall function. Unfortunately, as we now know they are in the possession of attaining them in the short term is very likely impossible.
I guess our best shot at recovering them is by taking over the Zenith base, but we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of combat machines to do that.
Correct.
So, Poseidon, what do we know about it?
Poseidon controls the organic, and once it is restored to me, I may be able to improve condition, but I must warn you. Like the others, Poseidon is lost. It may have taken measures to protect itself.
I'll be careful. You mentioned that the superstorms have subsided. Is that Ether at work?
Yes. Thanks to Ether's capabilities, weather patterns in the local region should mostly stabilize for the time being.
That'll be a relief for the Tenakth. One of their villages is still recovering after a mudslide caused the whole place to flood.
I will continue to stabilize the atmosphere for as long as...
So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, you'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at Calder...
Yes, and to program their behavioral routines, or even control them directly.
So you could build an army of machines. Attack the Zeniths and take them out.
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary human life above all. So yes, once I have been empowered with the capacity, I could design, build, and command such an army. Given the nature of the far Zenith threat, doing so may be... I must admit, however, that I have misgivings about using such technology, no matter how aggressive the enemy.
That's good.
Indeed.
Why did Ether take up residence in an ancient...
As with the other subordinate functions, Ether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. The one in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Ether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there. Beta believes the Zeniths want to use the terraforming system to wipe out life and start over. So they can build...
Further supporting our hypothesis.
But why? Given their technology, they could wipe out the tribes of the world by easy... And if they're the same people who left Earth 1,000 years ago, wouldn't they want the biosphere to be as it was?
It is likely they adjusted to different planetary conditions in their... They may be trying to recreate that environment here.
Turning Earth into a new Sirius. Their own person. So the Zeniths are the same people who left Earth physically immortal. How'd they figure it out?
From what we know of Far Zenith, it is plausible that prominent geneticists and engineers were offered a place aboard the Odyssey in exchange for their expertise. Given enough time, technology, and resources, any challenge...
Like how Minerva eventually generated the deactivation codes for the Pharaoh Plague.
Exactly.
The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth. Do you know anything about them?
Unfortunately, no. My personal database is limited to those who worked on Zero. Additionally, it appears Far Zenith was quite secretive about their members. Only one, Oswald Dalgard, was ever publicly known.
Right. He was the spokesperson back at the...
What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
The extinction signal didn't just wake Hades, it made every subordinate function self-aware. Why?
I have wondered this myself. So far as I can tell, Hades was and the partial sentience imparted to other subordinate.
A signal that precise would require thorough knowledge of the system. How could the Zeniths know that?
From the records on your focus, it appears Far Zenith had an informant during the development.
Hank Shaw. He was supposed to steal a copy of the system for Far Zenith, but...
Yes. It is likely Far Zenith acquired knowledge.
So from what Beta told me, I guess we can assume the Zenith's technology is powerful in all sorts of...
Yes. As your encounters with them amply demonstrate, they appear to make extensive use of robotic Further, they seem to be equipped with some kind of protective energy.
They seemed indestructible, but that weapon the rebels used stripped their shield somehow.
Throughout history, every defensive technology has eventually been defeated. While we lack the anti-shielding weapon, were I to absorb Hephaestus and utilize it to create, no shielding could withstand such an assault indefinite.
So there's hope.
Always.
How's Catalo doing?
I have detected that the loss of his arm still deeply pains. In an effort to remedy this, I have discussed a potential... I believe he will want to fill you in on the details.
A solution? I'll check in with him when I can, then. How are things around here?
Zoe has been studying the morphology of her land gods in an effort to understand their sickness. Without the abilities of Hephaestus, I am, however, due to Zoe's perseverance, we may have a...
Yeah, she filled me in. It sounds promising. Varl and Zoe seem to like spending time together.
Indeed. While studying Old World data, Zoe discovered references to a dietary lifestyle. She appreciated the similarities with Utaru and encouraged Varl to try out this lifestyle.
And how did that go?
I believe they have agreed to disagree.
How's Erend handling?
He is becoming increasingly accustomed to use of the focus.
What did he do?
He unfortunately crushed his first focus as he attempted to. Amongst a number of Oseram curses, I believe he also blamed the focus for being... He has given repeated assurances that it will not happen again.
Well, good thing we have a lot of extras, I guess. So there's a few people here now, and they're almost like what was supposed to happen before Apollo would...
Yes. While the loss of the Apollo database was catastrophic, there is still much that can be gleaned. For instance, Varl has been reviewing the last recorded entries from those who perished during the fair. Hearing their hopes and fears made him quite somber.
Anything I should be worried about?
I do not believe so. I have elected not to intervene, to allow him to...
Gaia?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came, we exchanged greetings, names, then set to our talk. It was the first of many conversations, listening to her stories. She was my creator.
Your friend.
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, though I am glad she made it home, I deeply wish she did.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. Thanks, Gaia. So, the greatest minds, all working to build the terraforming system while the Pharaoh Plague devoured the planet. What was it like?
Personnel worked in rotations. Resources and technology were secured from across the world. Within a month of the project's conception, Elizabeth encouraged me to spend time with the rest of... She said it was important to experience, to aid in my emotional development.
What were they like?
Scared. Hopeful. Achievements on a scale never before attempted. I owe everything to their dedication.
So this facility, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region, had humans received their education from the Apollo, they would have then been guided here to assume. As that never happened, this...
Until Minerva decided to settle here. So I guess this room was meant to keep an eye on conditions outside?
Yes. From here, the facilities operate to observe weather and machine activity in real time.
That would have been quite a sight.
It may still be possible to view some of them, should you find and reconnect the cameras to the...
I'll keep a lookout. So the Hades Proving Lab, where I found the Gaia kernel, it used to be a Pharaoh research facility?
Yes. The facility was used to engineer and test advanced compute. It appears to have been one of many research initiatives by Pharaoh.
I guess it wasn't enough to build automated killing machines. He wanted viruses to infect them with too. So, a while back, before I discovered another AI there. One not related to Zero Dawn. Cyan. It was created to oversee operations for a and it spent the last 1,000 years in isolation. I'm guessing you didn't...
No. From the data on your focus, it seems an effort by its creators to protect it from the Pharaoh Plague.
Any chance it could help us now?
I have already attempted contact, with no success. Given its previous experience with accepting an outside net, I imagine it is unwilling to...
Right. Because last time Hephaestus enslaved it. Well, that's too bad. I think the two of you... The processor Ether was installed on a memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events was unfortunately lost. However, climate data indicates a peak in such conditions would see extreme, prolonged an increase in dust storms, and a loss of habitat.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a wasteland. So I guess things got better.
Yes. Data suggests that temp levels in the clawback era of...
There was an ancient tank embedded in the bulwark. Any idea how it got there?
During the Pharaoh Plague, the U.S. military resumed as automated machinery was unreliable. It is possible the vehicle was part of a...
So they fought against the Pharaoh machines in until the mountain was blasted apart and buried them. So the facility where I recovered to meet, it's where they created the biomass conversion system, but did Elizabeth know they were working on that?
It is likely she was briefed on, though her focus was devoted only...
That makes sense. But they actually, if they've been able to deploy it against the Pharaoh Plague in time...
Using the data you recovered on the project, I ran several simulations, and have concluded that it would, in all scenarios, the Pharaoh war machine deactivate the wreaths before they could continue.
So Zero Dawn really was the only... There was a lot of data in the greenhouse. Do you think it'll help the Quen fix their homeland?
I will run a query. Complete. The data contains information about novel crops, which may be beneficial to the tribe in the long term.
But new crops aren't going to save the world. So I guess it's on us.
It is.
When we were at the facility where we found bait, there were records that said Far Zenith were researching embryo. I know they traded their ectogenic chambers to Zero Dawn, but why were they researching it in the first place?
At this point, we can only speculate. Perhaps at one time they meant the Odyssey to be a colony, necessitating such technology. As their goals evolved over time, so did their...
So they got more selfish as the risks of staying on Earth kept rising. See you later, guys.
Until next...
Anybody seen one of my machine strike pieces around?
Ah.
How are things going?
Hey, you tell me. Varl's new...
So I hear.
I made one joke about how they, how does anyone fight with nothing?
From the looks of it.
Yeah, well.
Just... try... I gotta...
Yeah.
I don't think that door had power before, but... looks like it's malfunctioning. Looks like some kind of maintenance space. I wonder where this leads. Power cells? Huh. That did it.
Aloy? A bunch of lights just turned on up here? Was that you?
Oh. Huh. Yeah, I guess it was. In.
Hi! Happy birthday, Isaac. Daddy sure does love his little big man.
She found that recording from the data on your focus. She's been watching it a lot. I think it helps calm her.
You know, I used to watch this a lot too. Whenever I wanted to take my mind off things.
Daddy sure does love his little big...
But there's something you need to tell me?
While you were gone, I came down here to check on her. Then we started talking. Right, Beta? She's been thinking about how to capture Hephaestus, studying the data Gaia gave her. But we started talking about some other stuff. You know, just getting to know each other, right? And then she told me that one of the Zeniths might be different from the others.
Tilda. You saw her at the Hades Proving Lab.
Go on.
On the way to Earth, the Zeniths never showed their faces. My servitor caretaker referred to them as my benefactors, and promised I'd meet them someday, when I had learned enough.
And then?
One day, a data channel opened in my training interface. In it, Tilda was waiting for me, in a virtual replica of a house on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. It was beautiful. She showed me paintings, books, media files. We met there in secret many times. But a few months later, it stopped.
Can you tell us why, Beta?
I found some data about Tilda at the Hades Proving Lab. I think she was the liaison between Far Zenith and Zero Dawn. She knew Elizabeth Sobek, that's for sure.
Maybe that's why she reached out to you?
What else can you tell us about Tilda?
She liked to talk about her paintings.
What about herself? Did she ever talk about her life on Earth, how she joined the Zeniths, something like that?
She never said much about herself, and she hated it when I asked too many questions. But I think, back on Earth, she was an expert programmer, given that she built a data channel the other Zeniths couldn't detect.
Is there anything else about her that we might be able to use to our advantage?
She was the first real person who ever bothered to speak to me. I wasn't really assessing her for strengths and weaknesses.
You said that Tilda reached out to you using a data channel?
It appeared in my training interface as another assignment. When I opened it, there were a series of intermittent glitches. I realized they formed a transpositional cipher. Instructions on how to open up a new virtual space. When I entered it, my training interface disappeared. Instead of the usual holographic teachers and files, I was in a perfect recreation of her home.
And you're sure the other Zeniths never knew about it?
To them, it looked like I was still in training. Toiling away. Alone.
So this secret virtual space looked like a house with an ocean view?
I could see whitecaps and hear waves crashing on rocks below. And there were gulls crying outside. Inside, Tilda had frames that showed off her favorite paintings, changing at intervals to match the light. There was an armchair she liked. She'd sit there and gaze outside while I looked through her things. We spent hours in that house. I never wanted to leave.
You said Tilda showed you paintings and let you access media files?
Every time we met, she showed me a new painting. I think she was Dutch. All of her favorite pieces were from their golden age in the 1600s. Portraits, allegories, ships at sea. She had so many.
They didn't interest you?
I liked her media portal. It had so much more than my training interface. Clips, shows, holos. My favorite was this one called Second Time Around, about a family whose kid comes back after disappearing during the Hot Zone crisis.
Right, but did this portal have anything about the Zeniths themselves? Anything we could use?
No. Any information about them was redacted.
So Tilda set up a secret virtual space where she could talk to you, a house on a cliff. Then later, she cut you off. But other than the fact that Tilda knew Elizabeth, you don't know why she did those things?
I don't! Okay? I thought of every possible reason that would make her leave, but whatever I did wrong, I don't know what it is! When I finally met the others, she ignored me. Acted like the data channel never existed. None of this even matters. Tilda's the same as the others. It won't help us defeat them.
Okay. Let's leave it at that, then.
What's wrong?
I'm trying, Varl. But she is tough to take. I'm out there in the wilds, risking my life every day, and all she can do is hide in there and tell us how hopeless it all is. I'm sorry, she's had a rough time, but she is really not helping right now.
You always seem to be on top of everything, so I sometimes forget about what you've been through. I mean, It wasn't that long ago you were so banged up you couldn't even walk. About that. When I pulled you out of the water back near the proving lab, you were muttering Rost's name. You never talk about him. But he raised you, trained you. You must miss him a lot.
Of course I do. But I don't have time to think about that now. I need to get back out there.
Okay. I'll keep working with Beta. Gaia says she knows a lot about Zero Dawn. And maybe she just needs some time to adjust, and then she can help us with Hephaestus.
Sure. But I won't hold my breath.
Pizza?
Apparently it tastes worse the longer
Aloy.
it takes.
Yeah, everything's...
Well, okay,
It seems like you're getting...
yeah, it's been helpful when I could make sense. I did find the old ones enjoyed a good brew, only they let machines. They even let the damn things cut you off before you saw the and that's half the fun. Now, you won't see me letting a robot...
Are you playing that board game I keep...
Oh, you mean Strike? Yeah, I'm just trying to... It helps take my mind off things. Yeah, it's a Tanakh game. I thought about it, but... What if he tries to kill me if I...
I think you're safe.
Yeah, I don't know. Heard a lot of things about...
Do I smell...
I brought some over from Chain Scrape. With everything that's been going on, I thought we could all use a drink. Besides, there is nothing that... That's what my sister always said. And
Maybe another time. I should get...
back to
Hey.
Of course.
How's training?
Discovering something new about our past When we first met, you asked me if I ever this world looked like when the old ones lived here. I thought it was strange, but a lot has changed since I left the Embrace. Now I'm just trying to make sense of everything I thought I knew, versus everything I know now.
The change is hard. But it gets... It's hard to believe we're dealing with the original Xen. The same ones that left for Sirius 1,000...
To live on for so long.
Because it's not.
That weapon we found where Beta was hiding. Any chance...
Sylens made sure that wasn't an option.
Why would he build something to hurt Far Zenith, yet allow them to capture...
With Sylens, there's always an angle. We just don't know what it is yet. What do you make of this Tilda?
Well, the way she described it, I can't shake off the feeling that Tilda... Maybe because she's Elizabeth Sobek's... But whatever she wanted, I don't think she got it. If we knew what it was, maybe we could use...
I don't know. I don't think Tilda and Elizabeth were on the best...
Oh well. At least we can take some comfort in knowing this...
Maybe. You brought up Rost before. I do think about him. He was all I had. And he brought me up the best he could. When Hades discovered who I was and sent the Eclipse after me, he sacrificed himself so I could survive. But that seems like ages ago. So much what I'm doing now. I don't think he could even... The Sacred Lands were all he really knew. So I can't let myself dwell on him.
I understand. Sometimes when I think about what she would have become if she had survived, it hurts. And I just need to bury it for a while. You can't ignore it forever. Memories always...
I know. But for now, the mission...
Fair enough.
You feeling up?
I was just thinking about Beta and all that time spent with the Zenith. To think someone would make a person just to lock them in a room to you. Elizabeth Sobek sacrificed herself for the world, and yet they have no trouble treating Beta like a slave.
Another reason we have to stop them. I should get back.
We'll be...
Aloy.
Hey.
I am well, but Varl told me Beta's having a hard time adjusting. I wish there was something I could do to help.
I'm not sure any of it.
A tree won't bear fruit in a day.
The Zeniths did a number on Beta.
I still can't believe she told him the Zeniths, old ones who cut themselves off from the cycle of life and decay. I've never heard of anything so selfish. To deny our dying bodies to the earth. To doom the life that would bloom in their It's despicable.
What are you going to learn next?
I'm not sure. I asked Gaia for suggestions, and she brought museum? From what I gather, the old ones would store knowledge in them, like you've done here for us. Maybe one day more people will be able to use this.
That sounds crowded. Is there... Are you okay?
You and Varl have...
I like to think so.
I was wondering... What?
Oh.
That bad, huh?
Why do you want to know?
He's spoken of his sister, Vala, but...
She's the war chief of the Nora. Best warrior the tribe's ever known. But she could be pretty...
I see. I feel silly not being able to ask Varl directly.
I wouldn't worry about it. He's probably afraid Sona will scare you off.
I'd like to see her.
I should get going.
Good luck.
you